Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Grumpy Acres. This is part of the Homestead Preparedness Plan that I like calling Full Spectrum Preparedness. Let me ask you this question. What would you say if I told you that true preparedness was not about stacking food and ammo? It wasn't about having a bunker or a bug out bag. Instead, it's about mastering 10 interconnected areas of self-sufficiency that ensure long-term survival, no matter what comes your way. That's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Grumpy G, and this is Grumpy Acres. We like talking about preparedness and homesteading, and tonight's live is the second in a series of videos exploring the preparedness continuum. It's a conceptual journey that bridges the gap between preppers and homesteaders. In this live stream, we're going to introduce 10 core categories of preparedness that form a comprehensive framework that allows the individual to assess, improve, and balance their preparedness efforts with a goal of greater self-sufficiency. Before we go on, I want to recognize everybody in the chat. I see lots of new faces there, or lots of old faces, I should say. If you're new to the channel, make sure you get out of top chat, go into live chat so you can see all the conversations. All right. Now, let me ask you another question. In light of everything that's happening in the country these days, in the world, if you had to rely on your preparedness level today, how long could you sustain yourself and your family? Go ahead and put that in the chat. Let's see what everybody has to say about that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to tell you what we're going to go over tonight. So we're going to cover three things. We're going to cover the 4 primary categories of preparedness. Then we're going to cover the 6 supporting categories. And then we're going to talk about how all these categories work together. Okay. Like I said, these categories form a framework that matters. Without structure, chaos and confusion can quickly set in. In preparedness, reacting without direction or plan leads to burnout or dangerous blind spots. The framework provides clarity, helping individuals to focus on what matters most, prioritize their efforts, and take practical steps. It turns overwhelming tasks into manageable process without real resistance or resilience. Let me say that last sentence again. I've got my notes down here, and I'm trying to look at the camera and read my notes at the same time. I'm thinking, how did you stick with my notes, huh? It turns overwhelming tasks into manageable progress towards real resilience. All right, you guys ready to get into the 4 primary categories of preparedness? These are what people like calling their survival skills. At the core of preparedness are 4 survival needs: food, water, shelter, and security. Whether you're preparing for short-term or long-term self-sufficiency, these are non-negotiable. You have to have these in place or you will not survive. Number 1, food. It's securing sustenance. Stockpiling canned goods. The prepper stockpiles canned goods, MREs, and freeze-dried food. Homesteaders, on the other hand, garden, raise livestock, and preserve food. And then you get into the advanced preparedness. You get into another category that we're eventually going to talk about. And I'm going to kind of keep it a secret right now. Advanced preparedness, saving seas, permaculture, food forests. And the takeaway here is you must have a plan for both food storage and food production. All right. The next one, water, the most critical resource. You know, the rule of 3, you can survive 3 minutes without oxygen, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. So after air, water is the most essential resource. So preppers most likely are storing water in bottles and barrels, or they've got purification methods. Homesteaders, on the other hand, have wells, rainwater collection, and filtration systems. the difference between a purification system and a filtration system, purification systems are much smaller scale, where filtration systems are working on a much larger scale that can handle a whole family or a homestead over a long period of time. And then we get into the advanced preparedness. This is whenever you transcend the homesteading phase. You talk about large scale water management, ponds and aquifers, and the key takeaways here are stored water eventually runs out. You have to have a renewable water source as an essential part of your plans. All right, and you're seeing a pattern forming here. At least you should be seeing a pattern where the prepper's plans are limited and finite, and the homesteader looks for more long-term and sustainable systems. All right, the next one is shelter, protection from the elements. Preppers like bug out locations, emergency shelters, and fortifying existing homes, whereas homesteaders like self-sufficient homesteads and off-grid living. Advanced preparedness, you start getting to earth-sheltered homes and natural building techniques. The key takeaway here, shelter isn't just about protection, it's about long-term sustainability. All right, the next one, the fourth and final core aspect of preparedness, security, defending what you have. Preppers focus on firearms, fortifications, and self-defense training. Homesteaders move on to guard animals, community defense, and perimeter security. Now, here's another pattern you should also see. A lot of these things overlap, and that goes to my concept that preppers and homesteaders are not too terribly different, just working on the same continuum. Advanced preparedness, you start getting into layered defense systems and intelligence gathering and things such like that. The key takeaway here, security is more than just guns. It's about strategic layered defenses. All right, I got a couple of questions for you. Take a sip here. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Let's see who wants to be brave and answer these questions. First one, which of the primary four categories do you feel most confident in? Let's see some answers in the chat. And while you're typing that, the next one is, which one is your weakest and why? So we'll wait. We'll see if anybody puts anything in there. You know, these four categories are traditionally prepper territory. Homesteaders don't like thinking about some of this stuff, but I'm here to tell you, you have to have all these in mind whenever you're building a homestead or you're prepping. Jody says she lives in town and is a sitting duck. Sounds to me like Jody's not too terribly confident in any of those four categories. Well, the good news is you've got time to work on them, right? So Gregory says food and water. He's most secure in food and water. Let's see somebody else say what they're weakest in. While you guys are typing that, let's go on. Let's go on to the next part. The 6 supporting categories of preparedness. Let's talk about these things that support and enhance the 4 primary needs. These areas help bridge the gap between short-term survival and long-term resilience. All right. First one we're going to talk about. So William says weapons and defense. Is that a plus or a minus there, William? Okay. The first secondary category is communications, the ability to stay connected in a crisis. Preppers usually rely on ham radios and emergency alert systems as their primary means, and homesteaders move through that phase and they start relying on long-range radio networks and community coordination. You're going to hear that word a lot, community, in these secondary pillars. Key takeaway here is you can't survive alone. information and coordination are key. Even when things aren't going wrong, you should still be building these networks and infrastructure to work on your communication. Oh, look at that. We got another ham operator in the mix. I'm KE0NIP, but my radio rig is down right now. I still got to run my antennas. The next one, transportation. This is for mobility and logistics. So the preppers rely on bug out vehicles and fuel reserves and emergency routes. These are where we focus our attention on in order to get to the bug out location and avoid danger. Homesteaders move into things like sustainable transport, horses, ATVs, bicycles. I don't know why ATVs are on that list. I should have caught that, because these all rely on fuel, and the chances of it going away completely, not as likely as they're becoming shortages. Well, I guess an ATV would use a lot less gas than a 78 C-body, huh? Key takeaway here: if you can't move, you're a sitting target. Always have a transportation plan. Always have a way to get out of Dodge. All right, or go pick stuff up. The next one, I saw Starla say something about not having a handle on a solar power yet, or the wattage thing on solar power. The third one is energy, powering self-sufficiency. Preppers worry about generators and backup batteries primarily, and once you get past that phase, you move into the homesteading phase. You start looking at solar, wind, wood gasifiers. I know some people that are running hydro on their property. There's all kinds of different things, and the key when you're talking about energy, and it's not just for vehicles. It's for powering your lights. It's for communicating. It's everything. Energy is probably one of the most interconnected aspect of preparedness out of all 10 of them, because it literally affects all the other ones. Number 4, financial preparedness, economic resilience. It's an important one. Preppers, cash reserves, precious metal, and barter items. These are things that they can use in the time of crisis in order to get things that they need, or maybe pay their way through an area that is dangerous. But they like having that stuff on hand. Homesteaders start worrying about more than just that. They start worrying about monetizing skills, having a way to make money as a side hustle, and diversified income streams. They're looking at different ways to finance the homestead. The key takeaway here, and I firmly believe this: debt is a trap. Financial independence is just as important as food storage, because once you fall into that debt trap, what's Dave Ramsey say? The borrower is slave to the lender, right? And remember, everything in life is how Spag say it? Every decision in life is an economic decision. You're deciding how to spend your capital, whether it's barter items, precious metals, food, whatever. All right. Number 5. This is more important than a lot of people think, and it's probably one of the most overlooked aspects of preparedness: mental and spiritual resilience, surviving the stress. Preppers, first thing they do is get a proper mindset, and they train that mindset. And the next one is survival psychology. They focus on the things that you have to do mentally to survive a crisis. Homesteaders, again, there are crossovers here, because I know a lot of preppers are going to fall into this category. Faith is a big one in the homesteading community. Mental toughness and stress management. Learning how to deal with the stress in a healthy manner. The next one and final one. This is the 10th one, the sixth one in the secondary categories, and the 10th one overall. Community, strength in numbers. Preppers form mutual assistance groups, also known as MAGs. We've talked about them on the channel before. And online prepper networks like Survival Board or Kentucky Sustainable is a good one. They meet up at freesteading.com. There's all kinds of networks out there that you can join and meet fellow preppers. Homesteaders are more local in their community. They work on bartering with the communities, and they build rural support networks because they're away from the cities. And actually, you know what? Come to think of it, that's not really a true statement, because there's a group of people in Kansas City called the Urban Farming Guys that are urban homesteaders, and that is actually a movement. They had mini Holsteins and rabbits and chickens. They raise tilapia year round, and there's a group of about 10 or 12 families up there that are changing the community there in Kansas City. It's a fantastic group of guys when we knew them. I'm sorry, guys and gals. All right. Key takeaway from the community aspect of it all is lone wolves don't survive very long. In fact, if in a crisis you're going to try to lone wolf it, I tell people that they need to prepare to die lonely and very uncomfortably if they're lone wolfing it. Okay, question time. Let's see if you guys are paying attention here. Let's see who's willing to step up and make a comment. First question: which of the supporting categories do you think is most overlooked? I told you what I think is the most overlooked. What do you think the most overlooked is? You know, one of the people that we've had on our channel is Brian Duff, a fantastic individual, and he focuses on the mental aspect of preparedness, and he does a great job of breaking it down and helping people understand how to handle the stress. Hey Virginia, how's it going? Okay, the next one, while you guys are mulling over that first question. So the category that you think is most overlooked, and we're talking about it not only in the overall idea of preparedness community, it's you personally. What steps are you actively taking to address the one that you think is most overlooked? Yeah, community helps the mindset. Yeah, see, that's why I said these are interconnected framework, because one helps the other. Another, spiritual and mental health. Oh, let's see here. Starla's still concerned about security. Oh my goodness. All right, you guys think about that. Think about what you're going to do to address the shortcomings in these 10 categories that you have. Now, let's go over some examples of how these categories work together, because these categories aren't separate. They overlap and they reinforce each other. A strong homesteader prepper plan integrates all 10 aspects of preparedness. That's what we call full spectrum preparedness. And if anybody's wondering where I got that name, a friend of mine had a website before YouTube took off called Preparedness, and he came up, when he was in Iraq, he came up with the concept of full spectrum preparedness and wrote out how these all overlap and interlock. All right, so that's credit where credit's due. Okay, first example. Let's talk. Tell me what you think of this. A breakdown in one category affects the other, i.e., if your water source fails, your food production collapses. Would you guys say that's a true statement? Any gardeners out there tried to garden through a drought? Tell me what you think. Another example. If your energy source fails, your security systems and food storage could fail. How many of you out there have multiple freezers? Oh, there you go. Virginia's jinxing me. Clean water will be life versus death. Therefore, water is our biggest deficiency. Jody is either saying she lives by a river or you should go live by a river. Okay. Let's go to example number 2. A holistic approach is key. Holistic is an all-encompassing approach, all right? A well-stocked prepper with no community is vulnerable. Can you guys tell me why a well-stocked prepper with no community is vulnerable? It's pretty easy to do. I just want to see if anybody's out there paying attention. And then on the flip side of that, a homesteader without security is a target. You know, she's already got raiders attacking her food every day. Those deer, they're pesky. Yeah, can't be awake 24/7. Let's see here. Let's, well, if I can hit it. Yeah, you have to sleep. Oh, there's a good idea from Len. Oh, sleeping's a good idea. Where is it? Let's get that one. He's able to redirect his sump pump to water the garden. We had our sump pump at our suburban house draining into a flower bed, and those were the healthiest plants on the entire property year round, bar none. Okay. The next one. This is how they work together, and how we transition from prepper to homesteading. And this is kind of a preview of one of the next videos that we're going to do in this. All right, in this series. Preppers react to emergencies. That is the whole purpose of the prepper community, is emergency preparedness, reacting to an emergency of some sort, whether it's a small one or it's a large one. Homesteaders aim to prevent dependency on fragile systems. I've said this many times. The collapse of the infrastructure in America scares me, because we are so dependent on a system with so many choke points and failure points. It's not even funny. The closer that we get our food at home and our energy at home, the better off we are. I guess Gregory said that, right. Virginia's agreeing with Gregory, and food smells heavenly from a mile away if someone is starving. I've told this story before. One of our affiliates is All American Sun Oven. So when they had the last big earthquake in Haiti, you know, the one that the Clintons stole all the money from after it was over. When they had that, the relief agencies were having a problem, because they would start cooking food for victims, and the food would waft out, and mobs of people would descend on their compounds and steal all the food. Well, All American Sun Oven packed up a shipping container full of solar ovens and took them to Haiti and gave them to all the NGOs that were running relief down there. Because when you cook in a sun oven, not just All American, but any sun oven, you don't get that smell unless you open the lid. And even then, it's only local. Seriously, it's no more than 5 or 6 feet away is how far it goes. So if you're looking for a great off-grid cooking experience that provides you some security too, go down in the description below, hit the link for All American Sun Oven, and you can use our I think we got affiliate code. I have to go look, but you can save some money by using the link in the description, right? Okay. The goal here, the goal between the preppers reacting and the homesteaders preventing, is to combine both mindsets for maximum resiliency. And it's easier to do than what you think, guys. Seriously. All right. we're reaching the end. This is the conclusion part. It looks like this video or this live stream is not going to be quite as long as the last one, but we covered some really good ground. And if you wanna learn more about some of these categories, I did some videos a couple of years ago about it. The quality's not that great. I've become much better at doing live streams and videos, so you can go check those out if you want. I will be taking these 10 categories and sticking them in a community post so people can download them and look at them. But here's a summary of the key points here. The 4 primary categories: food, water, shelter, security, are all non-negotiable. No matter where you are on the continuum, you have to focus on these core categories first. Then the 6 supporting categories: communication, transportation, energy, financial, mental and spiritual, and community, enhance sustainability. They allow you to survive long term. And there it is. The goal is not just to survive long term, but long term resiliency and self sufficiency, which we like to call thriving. All right, got some more questions for you. What's the next step after listening to the description of these categories? What is your next step after watching this video? What are you going to do to identify or plug holes in your system? All right, give you some time to answer that. You know, we're to the point here where we're plugging multiple holes at the same time. It makes for a very busy home schedule, but I'm telling you, at the end of the day, it is worth it. It is well worth the effort. Now, here's another question. This I'm not planning on doing this, but if you guys would like it, would you be interested in a deep dive into one of these categories in the future video? Would you like me to start doing a deep dive into these 10 categories? The community page is where all the community posts are. If you're subscribed to the channel, you should be getting notifications on them. It's where I just post the memes and stuff like that aren't videos. Okay. So let's answer this question for Starla. Where does growing your own fertilizer fit in, such as worms? Well, you've got food production. Well, it's all, if you're growing fertilizer, it's all food production. So Virginia says, yeah, a dive would be great. Gregory's going to work on more store food, more community, and better security. As I always say, before you do anything with your homestead, permaculture wise, get that 6 months of food stacked up. Okay. Hey G, listening and just hop back into chat. I'd add health and sanitation. If you have no means to address illness or prevent, you are in big trouble. This is true. And I can't believe I did not address that. Well, there you go. See, he just spotted a hole in my presentation. Absolutely, medical is a big concern. I'm not sure how I missed that, guys. See, look, I learned something every day. Yes, medical is very important. Preppers worry about emergency first aid type of stuff, and they focus on that. And as you mature and move along towards homesteading, you start looking at more health related things like medicinal herbs and more sustainable stuff than just emergency medical stuff. You know what? Now that you mention it, that is in the full spectrum preparedness arena, and it falls under, I cannot remember. It actually number 5. The mental, Mental and spiritual resilience should also encompass health. I'm sorry, I did not put that in there. Let's see here. You missed it because you're getting comfy. Yep. And I'm not as hungry as I used to be when it comes to preparedness. Well, if anybody's new to the channel and you made it this far into the live stream, this is going to shock you. I am not infallible. All right. I make mistakes. And this is why we do these lives and have these chats, so that people in the virtual community we have can point them out, and we can get them into the mix and make sure that you are completely informed on what's going on. Okay. Well, there you go. Medical's in the mix now. Okay, let's see. Okay, here's the call to actions. This is the call to action for the day. Number one, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can see the next part of the Preparedness Continuum series. Comment down below after we're done here. Just without releasing any OPSEC, where do you fall in the continuum? Are you a prepper, a prepsteader, or a homesteader? There's actually a fourth category that I found today that I haven't talked about, and in fact I didn't even know about it until recently, and I can't wait to share it with you. It's a fantastic addition to the continuum. Next thing, share this video with someone starting their journey, their preparedness journey. They can benefit from this, and it'll give them a place to go and start from. All right. If you want to support the channel, so hit the links down below and the affiliate links, and get something to help you be sustainable, and in the process you'll be helping us. And I want you to do this. I want you to ask yourself, where are you strong and where do you need to improve? What is the next step you can take to build resilience? Whether you're just starting or deep into homesteading, there's always room to grow, right? Until next time, you guys go out there and put your head on the pillow tomorrow. Make sure you're better off preparedness-wise than you were when you woke up, and go live a life done free. All right, guys, take care.
Survival isn't just about having the right gear, it's about mindset. In a world without the rule of law, what will you do to survive? WROL isn't just a game, it's a tool to hone your preparedness and survival mindset. Test your instincts, outthink, outlast, and outmaneuver your opponents in a world that's fallen apart. With WROL, every card you play challenges your thinking, tests your adaptability, and sharpens your ability to make tough decisions under pressure. Whether you are planning for an everyday emergency or prepping for the end of the world, WROL helps you prepare for the chaos of everything in between. Ready to level up your survival skills? Click the link in the description to order your deck of WROL cards today and start building your SHTF mindset. The apocalypse starts here.